Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You on a January 15th. I should turn that music down. I don't know how loud it is. I never know. On a January 15th, 2026. I almost said 25. My God, it does not feel like it is the new year at all. It hasn't set in. I feel like I'm still in like a state of limbo. It's not because I work from home. I've worked from home the past 3 years now, at least 2 years, because I know last year I was home for, the holidays. When I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Things are the usual. Football's happening. School's back. I don't know. Something just feels a little bit different. Even like tonight, we have on the feed, I got this. Look at this look at this hair, live viewers. Look at this. What am I supposed to do with that? Just kicking out, just trying to get over here the best it possibly can. But yes, later on tonight or tomorrow morning, if you're going to probably listen, or that's when you'll likely listen to it, we're reviewing 28 years later, The Bone Temple. That doesn't even feel like it. That is not sudden all the sequel. Obviously, because the first one came out, I think they said it was like 28 weeks ago, but still, first one came out not that long ago. It, to me, is just crazy. It just does not feel like 2026. Even my emails for work, I'm having a tough time writing those, but it is, and we have The Bone Temple. And and then even Send Help. There's just a lot of big stuff already happening, but thank you everyone for joining me. I should be joined by Taylor Field. Taylor Field said he'd be here at 10:50, and it's 10:51. Nowhere to be seen, but newborn baby, that's okay. But he will be joining me. And then let me look at the calendar before we get into, because we're talking about a bunch of just kind of random stuff today. Oh my goodness, Taylor's gonna have to cover me on two things because I forgot. So hopefully Taylor will cover me next week for Trash Told You. So let's see. So next week I will talk to Taylor live on air and see if he can do the Monday episode with me because Thursday. So yeah, that's what's happening. As of right now, there's a Travis Told You next Thursday, regular time, TBD at least. But as far as right now, usually it's Monday and Wednesday, but we're doing Thursday because Thursday is the Oscar nominations. So I want to be live to break that down. I won't be live when it happens. I'll be live that day. So I want to talk about all that. So that's what's my Thursday. And then there will be an episode Monday. I do want to talk about Bone Temple box office. I'm probably going to talk about the RIP with the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon movie. So there's a few things I want to talk about. It's just a question if Taylor will join me. And if he can join me, then maybe he'll be joining me on the Tuesday or whatnot. So just look out for that. But yes, we got Bone Temple review tonight. And then what is happening? After 9, 11 a.m. PST this Saturday. If you want to call in 4 slots, join Phase 2 and up. Should be a good time. Catch up with everybody, see what's going on, talk some movies, games, life, all that good jazz. And then, and then you should join it because the next few After 9s are going to be different. There's going to be the football After 9, which is for the football Discord. There's going to be the Oscars After 9. Luckily, if I can, that's what I'm wanting to, patrons. I don't have it 100% confirmed. I would like to try and do the Oscar predictions on a day. It might have be during the week. And if no one can join me, I understand that that's fine. Just because the next few weekends are very, very busy. We're also doing filming again, so that's what's tougher right now. Even with The Gimmick, which check out, we have a new episode of The Gimmick. We're supposed to do more GMO streams and whatnot, but it's just been tough with planning. And there he is, the man, myth, the legend. I'm joined by...
Hello, I'm Taylor.
You're 3 minutes late. I had to go. I'm on an hour time limit, Taylor.
I'm not paying for those.
What?
Spider-Man 2. Or was he 10 minutes late? What does the lady say? There's that.
Oh, what is the pizza? Is it? It has to be 10 minutes, right? It can't be 5 minutes. That would be, yeah. Look it up. 5-minute pizza delivery. That guy has to be losing way more.
No, because it's under. It's under 30 minutes, or it's free.
Oh, 30 minutes is nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but if it was late, then it's free pizza.
Yes, which I feel like was a big gimmick to do back in the day in that 2000s. People don't do it anymore now, which is crazy because we have Uber Eats and Skip the Dish, all that stuff. How come no one runs that? Get your food in this minute or it's free, Probably because they just know it wouldn't happen.
That's right. I'm trying to find it. Keep talking like fine. I gotta know how many minutes it is.
But I was just saying to me, it still does not feel like 2026. And I was saying that it does not feel like we're seeing the Bone Temple tonight at all. That just feels like it's snuck right up on us.
Does not.
It's snuck right up on us. So there's just lots of stuff going on. Hunter is Let's see. Did you guys see the Mr. Miracle animated series as connected to DCU? Yeah, I did. Maybe that's a big deal. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Like it's like Creature Commandos was. I'm not sure if we're gonna review Mr. Miracle. We'll see. But they did announce Taylor because they're doing this animated series. Mr. Miracle. He is a DC character. It's connected to DCU, but the big deal in it is the antagonist in that show is going to be Darkseid. So Darkseid's technically
Darkseid.
Yeah,
Nice.
Darkseid, but it's going to be canon to the DCU, so they're bringing Darkseid in already,
In animated form.
An animated, yeah, because I think Gunn said some comment, which we'll talk about Gunn later today. He said some comment where, like, Darkseid, like the first big bad's not going to be Darkseid. He said, like, that's something down the line. So I think that's why they're going to put in an animated show. I bet it's mostly in the past, and then you can bring them in later and whatnot. But, yeah, I think that's fine. Hunter Hurgy, you got one in there for free. Because if you want to send in a question, you got to become a patron or send a super chat for the show. Because, yeah, it's only an hour. We grip and rip it here. We got lots of topics today, lots of mini topics. Taylor, I hope you watch all the trailers because there's 2 I forgot to watch. So.
Oh, you sent trailers in there. Oh,
okay, so then
boy.
we're not gonna. That's gonna be skirted till maybe next week. The trailers at the bottom. I have 2 that I can talk about. Did you at least see the Mummy trailer?
No, I saw people talking bad about it, so I was like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna watch it yet.
Well, the trailer's not bad. The trailer's not. We'll talk about that, and I'll talk about Euphoria quickly. But we got a lot of stuff. We're talking about some Batman news. We're talking about Harry Potter. We're talking about. I don't have this in the news, but Taylor, how do you feel about Avatar 3 and 4 being dated 2029, 2031?
You dated it?
Discord. Yeah.
The last thing I saw was him saying he hopes he gets enough. James Cameron hopes he gets enough money to make them cheaper. I didn't see he actually had dates.
Espo shared in the Discord that it was Disney officially dated them for 2029, December 21st for 4, and then December 19th, 2031. Which is gonna be crazy because my kids are gonna be like old at that point. That's gonna be
Yeah, I'm just
7
I'm gonna put it
years
out
from
there.
now. 7 years from now, Gwen's gonna. Oh my God, Gwen's gonna be. How old is she now? She's gonna be.
7 years.
She's
What are you
gonna
talking
be
about?
15, 16. Well, what is it?
2031. That's 5 years.
What am I doing, man?
What are you
What's
doing?
going on in my life? Okay, 5 years. Okay, still, she'll be 13, but still, I don't know why I got 7 years from there. I don't know what year I'm in anymore. I have no idea. So yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. But Tay, I do have to ask you live on air, and you can think about it. You don't give me the answer. Is that next week I would prefer you, whether we could switch days or not, but I would prefer you to be on the Monday. Travis told you because on the Wednesday one I usually do, I'm doing the Thursday, and that's nothing but an Oscar nomination show. So that'll just be the Travis.
You don't want me to
solo
hang
show.
around? You don't want me a part of that?
I don't think I don't think you've seen. I'm trying to think. You've seen one battle after another. I think that's all you've seen out of the
it.
Oscar category right now. So we'll
Tell
talk.
me
but
like
just-
Wolfman and Avatar.
No,
Are
right now I
astronauts
think
in
the
the
front
Oscars?
runners are like Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another. Oh, you saw Sinners. Sinners is in there. I'm trying to think. The Secret Agent. It was just an accident.
I do want to see Mighty Supreme. I don't know. Is it still in theaters?
Yeah, it is. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not coming out till streaming till February 3rd. So I'm wondering what's gonna happen with Best Actor. I hope there's maybe a way me and Dylan can just make some sort of deal with you guys to get get Timmy in there, and then when you would see it and vote, because I think it's Best Actor worthy for sure. I know Dylan's seen it. He dropped to 5 stars on it. I dropped to 5 stars on it. I don't know if Kirkland's got finals and stuff, so I doubt he'll be seeing that before.
Finals.
But, yeah, always finals with that guy. His name's School. He's just fucking snowboarding and whatnot. But yeah, check out a lot of stuff on the feed. We have the movie draft for 2026. We got the video game draft for 2026. Taylor and Dylan just reviewed episode 5 of Fallout. I haven't watched the episode yet. Taylor, was it a good one?
I really liked it. I thought it was
Okay, good.
awesome.
That's good to hear. Like I said, After 9 is next week. And then I'll say this a couple times, but this weekend up until I'd say I guess technically the 20th, but next Tuesday we're recording our town hall. We do this every year. We didn't do this last year because I was away, but we do this every year. We put out our survey. I think it's the most responses we've ever gotten, so thank you for that. We'll be going over stuff, announcements, clearing our schedule, just talking about everything. Luckily, there's nothing really too negative, but there's some ideas or some questions like, hey, why this, why that? So it's always fun just to check in with everybody and talk about that stuff. And then next week is Golden Geeks as well. So lots of good stuff. So Taylor, I'm going to throw this at you. And I threw this in the Discord as well, too, because I was just curious what people thought about it. And I was kind of surprised it went one way more than the other. But yeah, we're talking some Batman news, talking Game of Thrones spinoff news. We're talking, I'm talking some trailers, just 2 of them. I'll edit the notes, but there's other stuff. So there was a report today, and I will give you the full story here, but there was a report today that the Brave and the Bold, right, let me just find the actual full thing. I don't want to paraphrase it and get something wrong here. Where was it? Okay, so this was the report from Dread Central. I've not seen much from Dread Central. People shared it. Who knows? I'm going to say very, very C to minus tier. I think I've seen this before, but they had put out that, okay, the screenplay for Andy Muschietti's Brave and the Bold is complete. Warner Brothers is looking at a 2020 release. It'll focus on Batman and Damian Wayne, which we've heard go back and forth of which Robin it's going to be. So I will specify this, that James Gunn did come out and say after, he said, fiction, sorry, screenplay isn't finished. Now, there's two things about this before we continue, but I just want to talk about the overall point. One, as I've said before, and I think we've all talked about the podcast, we trust James Gunn a little less nowadays because I think we've just seen a few times. I'm not calling the guy a liar. I'm just saying that maybe he won't fully admit the truth. He kind of, I don't know, he massages the truth a lot. And that's where there's been enough times where it's like, okay, I can't trust his social media. That's fine. But Taylor, just to be specific, so that report was the screenplay is finished. It will be looking for a 2028 release, and it will focus on Batman and Damian Wayne. Now, he did just say fiction, sorry, so that could be fiction, all of it, but he specified, said screenplay isn't finished. So he didn't say it's not Batman about Damian, and he didn't say it's not 2028. He could have meant that with fiction, but I think that just what was more of a bigger point, and it could still be that. So whether it's true or not, only time will tell. But in your opinion, if let's say they say, hey, in a couple, whatever, next few weeks, months, whatever, they say, hey, that script is done, Andy Muschietti is still directing it, and it is coming out 2028. We've talked about this before with this kind of balancing act. If that was the date, the Batman is coming out October, fingers fucking hope to God. The Batman Part 2 is coming out October 2027, so next year. So let's say that happens, and then let's say Brave and the Bold does come out 2028. What camp are you in as far as is putting a Batman movie out a year after a different Batman movie? Is that too soon? Would it have any effect on either's box office, or would it not matter because it's Batman and people are going to go and see it regardless?
I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest. And I that being said, is contingent. There's a parameter involved with this where I think, okay, if this Brave and the Bold has a little bit more of that comic book kind of aesthetic to it and more zaniness and more like that gun effect, I guess I should say, I think it'll be different enough that you can just sally forth and people will watch it for what it is. Like, oh, this is more of a comic book version. I like this. And then you're going to have the Robert one that's just dark and gritty. At times when I watch that first one, the Batman doesn't feel like it's a comic book movie. It just feels like this is just a dark, gritty superhero, or I don't call it a superhero movie, just a vigilante movie. And I really, really like it for that reason. So it's very different from the Nolan trilogy. I mean, if you were to have Dark Knight come out and then the Batman a year later, I think that both of them would do pretty good because they feel very, very different. And I think that's how you succeed. Now, that's the parameter. If they just do something that is more dark and gritty and not in line, like I don't know if it's going to really stand out on its own. But you have Damian, right? That's got some pull, right?
Well, at least they got a Robin. I guess that's where I still need to be confirmed because there was rumors that a Robin was going to be in the Batman Part 2. I still don't want that to happen. I don't really want... I think there's aspects of Pattinson's Batman that would be great for Robin. I just feel like I want to spend more time with him alone. But yes, as of right now, if it is Damian, then that would be his son, which has never been in live action either. So,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. One, I wanted to throw this out here because before I talk to that topic, and I don't want to forget about it, I did rewatch the Batman this week because last week all that casting stuff was coming out about Harvey Dent and all that. So I was just in the mood to rewatch it, even though I just rewatched it in October. I could watch that movie, I think, like weekly. You know, it's such a vibe. But I'm gonna kind of pair this with a tribute with Chris Balago, which check out Marvel Alliance. I'm back on Marvel Alliance with the boys over there doing our 2026 predictions. He had a theory that whether it be Dent, because the thing with ScarJo, we don't know which exactly character she's playing that's related to the Dent, whether she's like a Dent sister or wife, or it's a combo of the two, or it's just like his wife with the sister's character. But his idea was, remember I told you and Kirk about the Phantasm character, right? And the character that people were kind of hoping with the mask and the skull, and she's looking she has a big claw. Do you remember that all?
Google.
You can just put massive phantasms there. His theory was, what if she was a combination of Dent's character and that character. My official prediction, until I hear otherwise, I'm going to predict that she is, because I think we talked to you about this a few times before today, but you'll forget. There's a character called Hush, and his name is Tommy Elliott. And in the Batman movie, his dad is the reporter that reported on, Martha being Arkham and being in the asylum and all this controversy stuff. And he's the one that gets killed kind of accidentally by the Waynes. My theory is I bet what they're going to do is they're going to take Hush and this Gilda Dent and put them together, because the thing is she'd be trying to get revenge for her dad that was the reporter that got killed. You won't know her last name's Elliot, because if she married Harvey Dent Taylor, she would take on that name of Gilda Dent. So that's my new theory, is that I think they're going to combine some characters with Hush and Gilda. I just want to throw that out there because I was watching Batman, like, came to me in a vision. And we had heard Hush rumors before, or Hush rumors. I see, and this is what I put in the Discord, and it was 86% no when I said, would Brave and Bold release a year after Batman 2 be bad? I guess I wasn't sure. I guess I wasn't sure. I guess I should have specified more bad, but I think people understand what I was saying. I guess I've always said this. I'm not as sure as the Discord users, and I'm not as sure as you. Like, you just came out right with, like, oh no, I don't think so. Like, and you did specify that there has to be a difference, which I agree. I think the Brave and Bold will look more comic booky. Will have a Robin, all this type of stuff. But I'm just not sure, because we've never really had this yet. We've never had really two competing Batmans, right? Because, like, what, the Batman, like, I don't know, I guess in a way, but then my only example is a tough one, right? Because the Batman comes out 2022, right?
Sounds about right. It was 1 or 2. Pretty sure it was 2.
Yeah, it was 22. So my only bad example for this, because of the movie and a lot of other stuff that happened, was the only time we had a Batman and another Batman, 2022, the Batman comes out, almost makes $800 million. The next movie with a Batman, and not even a Batman, two Batmans, is The Flash in 2023, when you had Affleck and Keaton, but then that movie fucking bombed. Now, that could be The Flash, that could be Ezra Miller stuff, that could be a bunch of stuff, but that's why it's like, my only point of reference for them being like multiple Batmans released within a year of each other didn't go well. I think this is a completely different situation, obviously, from the Batman versus The Flash, with the Batman versus Brave and the Bold, but I just wonder how audiences are going to feel. And especially to me, is like, let's say it comes out in 2028. To me, I feel like Brave and Bold has to come out in October or after that. If it comes out earlier in 2028, then it's less than a year. And I don't know. I think we talked about that before. I know I like to make the joke it doesn't exist, but even with Solo, right? There's lots of things that went into Solo bombing, but I do agree with many people that maybe it coming out only, Last Jedi came out in December, so January, February, March, April, May, only 5 months after Last Jedi. Maybe people weren't ready for another Star Wars movie so soon, right? Maybe they liked that one a year. So I hope, not that I hope it happens. If James Gunn were to ask me personally, I would still say, hey, do 2029, because one, as we've seen, I don't think if the Batman 3 happens, it's going to be quick. I think they like to take their time with this thing. So I think you have time. And I think I've said before is I don't know if I think you were maybe gone for some of this, but have you heard the rumors going around that Wonder Woman's a Man of Tomorrow?
No.
So apparently, because there's rumors that they were casting like a female supporting character, like a main female supporting side character, and more scoopers have come out and said that they're casting a Wonder Woman for that role. So that's where, for me, it's like, you got Superman, hopefully you got Supergirl that works out, you got Wonder Woman. I've always said, like, of course, does a Justice League and DC need a Batman? In a sense, but I don't think you, like, need them. You could wait. So in my opinion, I would say, hey, I would tell Gunn, like, wait just 1 year, like one more year, because then, to me, 2 years, I think there's no problem whatsoever. I think 2 years is easy. A year after, I don't know. I just always wonder.
Do you think the Batman Part 2 could be delayed in lieu of this one, just because Gunn wants his universe?
Don't even say no. I don't think so, because this one's actually going to film, right? That's the thing, where the other one's not even filming. So I don't think you can do that. I think that would be. Then I'd worry it's going to get like a tax write-off or something. But no, I don't think I don't think it would be delayed. If anything, I would hope that would be Brave and the Bold. And I don't know. It's just interesting who they would cast as Batman. Then interesting because, like, what is the narrative? I guess the easy narrative, right? If the Batman 2 does better than Brave and the Bold, you say, well, that's a sequel to a successful movie, so of course it did better. But, like, what if it does, like, gargantuanly better. You know, like what if
Well,
there's
then
like a
James Gunn's gonna be like, "Hey, Rob, I got a proposition for you.
no, you
come on
can't do
into."
that. No, you can't make a Batman movie. It bombs and then you bring in Pattinson. Like you can't do
Oh,
that.
you sure
so.
can.
No.
Multiverse stuff.
Technically, yes, you can. Should they do that? No, I think that's confusing. But I don't know. I could believe that. I believe that they probably want to get more movies in there because I can't remember if people were talking about their slate, but like we lost the Authority. There's like Swamp Things up in the air. I feel like all the stuff that they announced that's like Sergeant Rock. Remember Sergeant Rock? And now
Yeah.
it sounds like they're not making that. It does feel like all the stuff that they were making that was a bit more weird has kind of been sidelined. I don't know if that's a Gunn choice or Warner Brothers choice by being like, hey, like maybe just stick to doing the main people right now. You know, like get that established. You can't do your freakos before, like you can do it on HBO Max with Commander, sure, but you can't do your freakos until you establish this thing. So
This isn't the exact same situation, but where you have Dark Knight Rises comes out in 2012, and then you have Man of Steel 2013, and again, like. Yeah, I know it's not two Batman, but it's different characters, but it's also different universes, which is what this is. That's the kind of comparison I'm looking at here. Brave and the Bold and Batman Part 2, different universes. And in the GA, are they going to know that? No, they're going to be like, oh, same character. But I'm sure a lot of people went in and were watching Man of Steel, produced by Christopher Nolan. Like, oh, is this in the same universe as
Definitely some people thought that. I think the thing with this, though, is because you'll have a new actor, right? And just the same way of, like, what happens if they get an actor that people don't like the choice? They're like, oh, I'm already in the past. And like, I don't know. I think it's going to be curious. I'm going to wait, and obviously we're all going to wait. We have to wait and see. But I want to see the role of all this. And even then, I guess, right? Technically, if let's say this was true and it's 2028, James Gunn's contract's up in 2027. Do I think he's going anywhere? No, I don't. I think I don't think so because like I would imagine like what do you think internally they think Clayface and Supergirl are going to do this year? Like do you think they think that that's going to be Superman level quality hits? Because I have to imagine they can't think that, right? They can't be thinking Clayface or Supergirl is going to be a near 600 million, right?
No, and that's again something that we talk about on the movie draft, right? I think Supergirl is going to be the Thunderbolts level. I think it's going to be that
we all had Supergirl low. I think Supergirl. I won't spoil the draft, but I think it's at least a maybe under 5 pick or 5 pick.
I think so. Yeah, like 400,000, not 400,000, 400 million. That's what it's going to be.
400,000. James Gunn's definitely not getting re-signed into.
No,
you're out, Norman.
400 million. I think that's a very reasonable, realistic kind of gauge for that movie. Now the Clayface. It's funny because I was looking at what some people were talking about when I was doing some research for the movie draft, and some people were being bold, like, "Hey, you guys, you're gonna hate me, but I kind of feel like Clayface could be bigger than Supergirl and make like the 600, 700." I'm like, "Oh, that is
600,
very bold.
700 for rated R Clayface."
Yeah, it's very, very bold. But,
what Reddit forums are you in over there?
Let's look at Joker. I mean, hey, there's it could be just a one-off thing, and then you get Clayface, Folia Dieu, and.
That's what Clayface should be looking at. It's fully ado numbers. Like I just want to be an example. Okay, let's look at the top 10 or the top movies last year. I want to see the biggest horror movie. So I think by this list, I think it's Conjuring because of this. So I'm just going North American. So Zootopia, Avatar, Lilo and Stitch, Minecraft, Jurassic World, Demon Slayer. I'm not going to count that anime, but How to Train Your Dragon, F1, Superman, Mission Impossible, Wicked, Fantastic Four, Detective Chinatown 1900, Conjuring Last Rites. So this is what Conjuring Last Rites, which was marketed as the last one of a very popular franchise, made $494 million.
But it exceeded expectations.
No, I'm saying that's massive. I'm just saying the biggest horror film of last year didn't even break $500 million. So anyone thinking that Clayface could be 600 to 700 million, no way. And even Sinners, right? Sinners was a massive phenomenon, made $368 million, which was great for Sinners.
That's a sin. Oh,
it is. But that's great for Sinners. But that's what I mean for people thinking Clayface. Like, I think Clayface. I don't know what it's going to play internationally. I feel like they're lucky if they can. I hope the budget's low. I think even 100 million, like I'd say 150 is like lucky. They should be like doing a success. And that's all to me what happens with James Gunn's job. If he went in there and pitched, hey, we're going to do Supergirl and Clayface, they're going to be smaller budget, going to be smaller movies, but they're going to kind of build the universe and be good movies, then he's fine. If he pitched these as like, oh, big blockbuster hits or something. It's like I love that he's doing Clayface as far as doing something different, radar horror. I love the Supergirl aspect, but if it like those can't be the same as Superman, right? And then, man, what you laughing at now? What are you laughing
No,
at?
just thinking about the numbers, just the numbers.
Yeah, and then like Man of like Tomorrow, I think that'll do pretty much the same as Superman, maybe a little bit better, a little worse. I don't know. So, yeah, I guess we'll see how that all goes down. But like I said, he did say it's fiction. He did say the script is not finished, so we'll see. One is gonna. This isn't in the notes, but Taylor, did you see that Kate Blanchett is coming back for How You Train Your Dragon 2?
Now, forgive me because I'm not a How You Train Your Dragon kind of like
Oh, me
pro
either.
or
I
anything.
thought you were.
But she plays and voices Hiccup's mom.
I thought you would have known. Have you not
Well,
seen
I'm
any
gonna
of them?
confirm. Well, I've seen them, but I mean,
Okay.
that was a long.
I think
time ago.
Hiccup's mom. So you got that. So
Let
there you
me
go.
let me look. Let me look.
I
let
just
me
saw
look
it in the
here.
news here. So she's coming back. What an easy paycheck for these fucking actors. You know, they get the money for voicing the cartoons, then boom, another job right there, live action, good to go. You know,
Valka Haddock. That's the Hiccup's mom. That's
There you
the
go.
one. Yeah,
she's back. Yeah,
I'm glad they're doing a second one because that first one was that was good.
yeah. And then I also have to ask you just in a little way because this was in that report, and we have to see because it's been talked about for a while. After it, Welcome to Derry, are you still happy with the idea of him doing Batman, Eddie Muschietti?
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, I loved it. Welcome to Derry was a fantastic show. Absolutely love it. So I'm totally there for further projects that he's got going.
What if I told you you could only have either or though? What if Andy had to leave it to do Batman?
Nope. No, we got the Batman Part 2, so we got a Batman. He can stick with it. I want to
But they're
see.
making a Batman. They're making a DCU Batman. They need a director.
So you're
And
saying
he's been announced for this.
it's either or, but he has to drop it for the Batman, and they just shoehorn in another director. For the
well,
Batman,
for either
Brave
one,
and the Bold.
because yeah, exactly. He would say, let's say if he stayed with it, they'd have to. I don't know what shoehorn, but someone else would have to take over. Yes.
I want him to stick with it because I think
Stick with it.
he stick with it. He created a very interesting and engaging, at least for me, final episode. That okay, this is we're getting into some zany stuff on the story, and I think okay, if he's got a plan for seasons 1, 2, and 3, I want to see this story kind of mesh together and unfold. And if he ditches that to someone else, then I think, oh God, what if we get a sequel trilogy Star Wars scenario where it's J.J. Johnson, J.J. again, right? And I don't want something like that. So
I see what you did there. I thought you said J.J. Johnson. Like that is not his name, sir. Put that away. Yeah, I think I would tend to agree in the counterpoint of I still enjoyed The Flash. I know a lot of people didn't, so I know a lot of people are kind of hoping he doesn't do the Batman. I guess my counterpoint would be I'd have to see who the replacement would be. I know it's not how it would work. They would not have the replacement just lined up. Like, I just not. And I like most of the stuff. I hate that I'm saying this, but I would not want the announcement of Andy Muschie's step down like James Gunn's directing Batman. You know, like I don't. Gunn already for me and Superman wasn't the greatest fit. I would not want that. So I would love the gift of foresight. Shout out to our trivia battle, which I can't wait for that to come out come back in August. If they were to tell me, if Andy's out, who's replacing him, then I'd pick it. So I'd still pick it, but I would like to have some preference of who's getting the gig here. So. Yeah, I guess we'll see. That's the Batman stuff. I will say now. This is just the part where we're getting to a bunch of random news and trailers. So I'll put this one in first here because Mike is a patron, and every day when we have a newscast, we put out the questions or headlines and ask you to send some topics and questions in. He said, I didn't give this to you, but I think you can answer this off the cuff. Thoughts on Sophie Turner, Laura Croft look? What are your hopes for the show in terms of tone? It's very interesting because remember the show at one point, I was one of those that like, I thought it was canceled, but that report was never actually like from anyone viable at all. Just kind of spread like wildfire. So I got like fake Facebook postered for a little bit. I was like, oh, that's a bummer. Cause I love Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I love, fuck. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Oh, I
you
just
stub
realized.
your toe or something.
No, in August when we did our best TV shows, I forgot to put Fleabag in there. Fuck, man, that was our first time doing that list. I'm the most disappointed with that list. I didn't put that in there. I should have put in maybe even Stranger Things. I would have put in there. Have you seen? There's a new conformity gate now, as Bob shared in the Stranger Things Discord. Have you seen this? That Finn Wolfhard's announced. Yeah, well, you know what conformity gate is, right? like the
No.
missing episode, the secret episode. That's what it
Oh,
was.
Stranger.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's back now, and I guess people think on Saturday Night Live, Finn Wolfhard's going to announce it, and it's not going to be one.
Oh, get out of here!
Go
Come
look
on,
at
people.
look at the Stranger Things Discord. Aspop's dropped it in there. It's going to be, he's going to announce it, and it's not going to be one episode. It's going to be 3
This
to
is
4.
when you get broken up with, and you're just in denial, and you're going back and back, and like you see your ex like who broke up with you eating at a restaurant, then they leave, and you go and sit down, and you're just delusional.
Why are you sitting down there? You're smelling at what's going on over there.
Just you think you're still doing it.
I agree, because I saw a couple people in our fandom, people we follow, respond to this tweet. It was going around, and I do agree with it, because the situations are different, but in the sense for the broader, very mainstream kind of general audience fan that doesn't really get it, or that's still typically online a lot though, is I think the Snyder Cut really broke people, because I think people think that happens for everything, and I don't think people understood. We talked about that many times, how fucking rare that was to happen. So much stuff had to line up. Don't forget, the studio told Zack Snyder, hey, shoot the movie this way, and on the fucking side, he shot his own movie. He said, okay, we'll do one for the studio take, and then we'll do one for me. That guy was fucking smart. He made his whole movie, because he knows he always makes extended stuff. And then COVID happened, so all HBO and everybody had nothing to release, and then they also gave him an additional whatever 10, 15 million to shoot new stuff. That does not regularly happen. If people don't understand that, the Snyder Cut literally was, that's why for so many years, myself said that would not happen. I did not believe it. Once I heard there was more out there, I thought, okay, there's something out there. I still didn't think it would get released until like a couple weeks before, when a big scooper was like, no, it's happening. That was so rare to happen. That's not what happens. And I think like the Snyder Cut now just feels like, oh, like with Rise of Skywalker, we got that, right? Like release the JJ cut, all this stuff. It's like, no, like 99, and I'm not saying there's not cuts out there and stuff, but 99% of the time, that's not going to happen. We're going to get what we get. So there is no conformity gate. There's no 3 to 4 episodes. That's the newest thing. But yeah, so anyways, piss. I should have put Fleabag. Fleabag is a top 10 TV show of mine. I would need to fix that list. But so my hopes for the show, it's tough, because Fleabag is not like an action show. It's not that sense, right? So like Phoebe Waller-Bridge doesn't have that in her tool bag yet. Even though she acted in Indiana Jones, it doesn't mean she can write that. I think I can expect well-written characters that you genuinely grow to like, and that's one thing she did very well in Fleabag. I think the dialogue and stuff will be top notch. I would hope that the look in like the jungles, if you got any tigers there, it should look good. It's Amazon. I actually like Sophie Turner as a choice. I think Sophie Turner is like a good actress. We're going to talk about Game of Thrones a little bit. I think she's a good actress. I think at times in Game of Thrones she was great. And I think at other times she was like iffy. So I've never seen, or something like Do Revenge. She was really fun in that. So I don't know. The look wise, like, listen, I get it. Well, I'll give them credit for, I got to go back and look at it. They got the fucking glasses. If you look at the glasses, Taylor, that's like full on combo, like the red little ones.
Yeah.
All right. Walk with me for a second and then throw it to you. I'm going to say something that people probably don't like and whatnot. We are back in the age where sex sells, for the most part, right? I know there's all these studies, Gen Zers or whatever's don't like watching the sex scenes. You know why they don't like watching sex scenes? Because they got porn at their hand. They can watch it at any point. My point is that, and Mike's right, they did parody about this, like, why is there a girl in skimpy tank top and the shorts and whatnot? Because I think we went far back around, because that is impractical. Why does Lara Croft dress like that when she's an adventurer and whatnot? Because, like, look at the reboot for that game. She was full on in, like, hunter's gear, like outside gear, like it was full on realistic stuff you would wear. And, you know, she had a tank top on one point, but still, like, it's not what Sophie Turner's wearing here. Sophie Turner is looking like the 90s sex pot Tomb Raider, right? And I think that's what they're going for, because I think there was an overcorrection at some point, which I'm sure people will discuss decades from now when me and Taylor are dead. And I'm somebody that definitely is like, you know, I'm not going to say we make jokes. Like, I'd say I'm woke in a good sense, but I think there's people that went overboard with that, right? Where you can't have anything sexual, anything's too sexualized, and it just felt like if you said anything about someone being attractive or this and that, it was too much. Now, do I think we're going too far back the other way? Maybe, because it's like, why does Lara Croft look like that while she's in the jungle? I don't know, but I think they're going in the way. There's lots of places now. If this was made 5 years ago, I don't know if she'd look like this. Now, I think they are leaning into, there is a crowd, and it doesn't offend me. Like, it's just impractical. It doesn't offend me, but, like, I think they are trying to go back into some of that sex sell sort of realm, and I don't think it's completely wrong. I think there's times where sexual things can be, but then this look does, it looks a little silly in some contexts. But as far as does she look like the video game? Yeah, sure. She looks like she's right from the video game. So what are your thoughts on this photo, and what are your thoughts on your hopes for the show? Are you going to be watching the show today when it comes out?
I think there's a chance that I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, the outfit. I mean, yeah, it's Lara Croft's outfit for sure, but
it definitely changed though. Remember with that remake series, like the new series, she was more like I'll pull what she was wearing. Like I'm pretty sure she was wearing like a fucking turqa in the newest games. Like
when what she was wearing in her previous movie, Alicia Vikander. I think okay, like that actress. I don't think she necessarily. And this is gonna sound mean. I don't think she looked like that Lara Croft character, but the way she dressed was more realistic considering the circumstances of how she just got kind of screwed over and just like a bit pitched on the island here, right? And had to deal with it. Whereas here, like she's going into the jungle dressed like this. One Life for a Million. But I don't know if like Sophie Turner necessarily looks like the costume is obviously making her feel more like Lara Croft than herself.
Like look at the newest games. You don't see a single piece of skin other than her hands and face. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying the new games went to okay, she's just gonna dress realistically how she is in the woods now, right? Where now we've gone back to she's gonna dress really sexy while she's in the woods,
Yeah. Which hey, I mean I don't mind. Like some Little Taylor in those early 2000s when you got Underworld and you got all those other movies coming out, like oh my god, like they did
Tomb Raider fan.
Oh yeah, they Daniel Craig in there, like they did not hold back. They're like we know exactly what we're doing and who we're marketing to, and we're just gonna run with it. And now that's you don't really see that anymore. And so with stuff like this now, like I don't know, if she's not acting like the character would and delivering like what Lara Croft would be doing, and I think like okay, whatever. But I think that if she kind of can sell this character and the apparel is supposed to be nostalgic for gamers and make people that played this series think, oh yeah, I can get on board with this because of how how she looks. It's core memory unlocked or something.
I can get on board. Oh, how she looks.
Yeah, I mean, I was curious to see what people were talking about.
People open up their Amazon Prime video and just.
That's exactly it. That's totally it. But I didn't see a lot of people hating on it. I didn't see much hate at all.
Oh, I wonder. Yeah, I think. Do you remember who? I can't remember because I've seen these movies a long time ago. Both movies had two popular male leads for the Jolie one. You got one right with Daniel Craig. Do you remember who the other one was in the other one?
Oh, was it Gerard Butler?
It was Gerard Butler.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably react to those movies when the show comes out. I feel like that'd be a worthy
They're good.
one.
They
like
hold up.
Movie one. I haven't seen it in. I think I've seen them both once. I don't remember liking or disliking. I just remember seeing them, and that's it. Because it was a video game. Because I was a massive fan of the original Tomb Raider. So maybe we'll have to look in that one.
They've got like a national treasure kind of nostalgia. Like
they
that
do.
Same kind of tier.
Yeah, we still need 3 to happen so we can retro those ones. But yeah, so yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to learn more about it. I'm excited that it's happening because I trust Phoebe Waller-Bridge, so we'll see what happens there. On the other Amazon note, we can go to this. That I know, Taylor, you don't play in the games and whatnot, so if you have nothing to add to this, that's fine. But Kratos was cast for the God of War Amazon series. They are, as I've said before, following the the newest game. So. Just God of War 2018 and then Ragnarok. Some people are mad because they're like, well, you need all the other shows or the other games to understand why he's the way he is. I'm like, one, I think those are very expensive. Talk about things that are different. I know Game of Thrones, but in those games, he's like laying in a bed with like 5 women. Like, I think you can easily tell the story, him being the older hero that regrets a lot of stuff that happened. I don't think you need that. And again, I think that has a lot more like the budgetary things. Have you ever played like God of War 1 to 3?
I played, not personally, but I know when I went over to my family member's house, he's like, look at this when you're having sex with the women in the game.
Of course.
Like,
did you see any of the boss battles, though, before the
Yes, I've seen some.
Those would be expensive. Like, those are, I feel, so that's where the God of War, the newer ones, they have some expensive
all practical
stuff,
effects.
But there could be, like, obviously Thor's there, so there's lightning, but I mean, like, you could do a lot of the stuff very practical. So I think that's happening. And then after lots of debate, because there's lots of talk of who's going to play it, I know people are very worried about The Rock, which I wouldn't have been, because I think The Rock has a second year, but they have announced that Ryan Hurst is playing Kratos. I've loved him ever since Sons of Anarchy and Opie. I didn't know that he was also in Friday Night Lights. He's in some new show. I wasn't sure if you saw on Netflix there. I feel like it'd be up your bandwagon. That Abandoned show. It's like a cowboy show. I'm not sure. Has a
on Netflix.
Yellowstone vibe. Yeah, has a Yellowstone vibe. But this guy Ryan Hurst, he was also in Bates Motel. Ooh. He's great. This is really good casting. I think he has to bulk up like a little bit. He's a big guy, broad shoulders, very tall. He's just not like raw like that, Jack. But that's not the easier part, but that's the part that you can train for. So I'm excited for this. I think that I could have gone either way with a God of War series or movie. I have said before that I think majority of video games work better as a series. I think that this could have worked as a movie, but I can see why as a TV show it could still work. So I'm excited for it. And this casting, I'm not like the biggest God of War guy. I didn't jive with those old games. I loved 2018. I still play Ragnarok. It's on my to-do list. But I think as a show, I was excited. But now with Ryan Hurst, I'm very excited. So I'm not sure. Do you have anything to add on God of War? Is this a series you'll be around for?
I feel like it's just going to be similar to Fallout for me, where I really no experience with the games, but the show is just, it's quality, it's good stuff, and I think that's good enough for me.
Yeah, Amazon's really in that like Fallout, God of War, now Tomb Raider.
We'll get a Kratos reality show, just like Fallout Shelter.
You could do it. It'd be like the reality award, God of Reality, and you're just you have to be a Viking guy and you're Have you ever seen those videos before? I hate that I've seen these. It's a fucking guy. He's like, "Are you manly enough to do this?" And it's like a big guy. He has a massive beard and he has like a massive axe. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
Kind of.
He jumps off like a massive like waterfall into like a body of water, and it's like ice. Have you ever
and you
seen
actively
this?
Searched this up?
No, it popped my timeline because the For You thing. So you've not seen this before. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. You don't have to.
I will find.
Someday.
I'm gonna throw to you for this next story, and then I'm gonna find it. But yeah, so yeah, we'll definitely be reviewing that. Hans Zimmer is going to be fucking hell. Hans Zimmer is going to be scoring the Harry Potter series, which is supposed to come out next year. Taylor, what do you think about this? Because we were talking about in the Discord where they did say, I think it was last year, that it's kind of been insinuated they're using the original theme. They gave the date and the logo, and it was the original theme. But obviously now with Hans Zimmer coming on, lots of people go, oh, well, could it be something else? Could it be something different? So what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the original theme? And then what are your thoughts on just, maybe Harry Potter being a year from now? Where are you on this series now after you have some time to stew on it,
I'll put it out there on behalf of my wife. She does not like this idea of Harry Potter being done again. She thinks it should be left untouched, and it really, really, really bothers her. Yeah. So there's that. We're gonna watch it still.
She's gonna watch it.
She's gonna watch it. I'll make sure she watches it.
Have you told her my pitch though about like there's so much stuff from the books of that's why like lots of stuff you can cover, tons of stuff.
Oh yeah, and I mean we're just about finished book 3. We're working towards book 4, and yeah, there's lots of things, and like it's crazy. Like when you're in, like Prisoner of Azkaban, you're dealing with the whole concept of how Crookshanks is like single-handedly like Sirius Black's best friend, and you learn about like the animagus that are unregistered. I didn't know that. Harry Potter's dad was an animagus, and like him,
fuck James Potter, fuck him.
Like all three of them were, and they were all that animagus, so they could hang out with Sirius, who was a werewolf at the time. And it's like, okay, this is super cool. There's all this kind of stuff going on with it, but that's
Sirius was a werewolf. You mean what's his name?
Yeah. No, not Sirius. Oh my god,
Lupin.
What was his name? Professor Lupin. Thank you. Yeah. Lupin. So they did it all so they could hang out with him. I am very much looking forward to seeing what the show is going to do, but I do have my pauses and my breaths with it that I'm apprehensive. But at the end of the day, like I hope that people just are withheld and act mature when it comes to this and how they disclose their feelings and their thoughts about the show. That's right. Just leave them alone. Just leave them alone because
that's where like it's tough not to be a child actor. Like talk to Daniel Radcliffe, the guy legitimately became an alcoholic. He's good now and everything like that, but like he had big issues. That was all before social media. I'm not saying Harry Potter is that, but like social media is a bad thing. It's like at the end of the day, it's like, and I think there's could be a chance other than I'll say maybe what's her name, Emma Watson. I think there's a chance this guy could be a better Harry and this guy could be a better Ron, because I think Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint are like okay actors. Like I don't think they're anything amazing. So there's a chance it could be better. But yeah, I think you can still critique them. You just don't need to tweet or get mad about it. I think obviously save it more for the adults, which I think the adults is where you're gonna have a bigger issue with your Dumbledores and your Snapes and your McGonagalls. Like I think I said this before, where because we're rewatching them right now. We're on what is it, Half Blood Prince, and I said to Emily, I'm like, and this is not about the race. I would never accept the role of Snape because I don't see a way in to do that where people aren't mad about it, because I think the problem is people that haven't read the books, I think they think Snape is like the way Alan Rickman played him, but they don't understand like that's Alan Rickman playing Snape, right? So just even the way when he says like, yes, Mr. Potter, like that, the way he speaks is how Alan Rickman speaks. So I think that's the problem, that people are not going to be accepting of that. Not even like the color thing, just like they're going to be used to his mannerisms, but it's not all Snape's mannerisms. Some of them are just the actors, right? Because it's just like any role, like if Nick Cage plays one, or I remember in his last interview when they talked to Heath Ledger about the Joker, he said if Christopher Nolan came to him and said, like, I want you to play the Joker like Jack Nicholson, he said he would have never done it because I can't be Jack Nicholson. I can't be that guy. But when he said, oh, I want you to do it like a different route, I can do that. So that's the point of just and I know it's a new Snape, right? But just to follow up. So it's going to be interesting. I do have that clip. I'll bring it up after. But Hans Zimmer, that's a big get. We know we'll get some, and I think there's some other act with them. I think it's like Bleeding Fingers. It's not Sticky Fingers, so everybody calm down. We didn't get the Sticky Fingers renaissance there. What is it? And Bleeding Fingers. So I guess maybe we'll pick up some stuff. So yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see if they keep the theme. I think they will, just for, I don't know, to get that nostalgia in there. It is interesting that they'll keep the theme. It looks like they're using the same cast. So like, even I'm pretty sure the guy that played Nicholas Flamel or whatever in the B series is playing him again here, and I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Warwick Davis is playing the same teacher again.
I mean, yeah, Warwick Davis, throw him in there. I mean, why
There's
not?
a lot of little people actors out there. You couldn't get anybody else.
Well,
you know,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but Warwick Davis is like, that's classic. I'm stoked for Davis to be in there.
All right, here's this clip I was talking about already.
Oh my god!
Here you go. I apologize for any sound if it starts. But here you go.
Warriors rise, it's time for war. Sharpen your axes, man of steel.
Oh, I know people in real life that are like this.
Yeah, I know. That guy just does a bunch of them. And for a while, I watched one accidentally, clicked on it, watched it, and then like my timeline was riddled with that for the next few weeks. So.
Well, that's amazing.
Oh man! So now it looks like I got some Game of Thrones news here. Which check out Taylor and Kirkland will at least be reviewing Seven Kingdoms. I might join at some point, but you guys got Seven Kingdoms, Game of Thrones starting this Sunday. 6 episodes, so be there. There'll be reviews for that. So this is, I guess, a 3-fer right here for you, too. So the first thing is, actually, I'll get the other, I'll have to find the article, I guess, for it. But yeah, I'll find the article for that part. But I'll start with this, that they are looking into making a Game of Thrones, in a sense, sequel series. And the idea, it's not greenlit, they're just working on it. But the idea right now is to follow Arya Stark. So how would you feel about that? Because I feel like that's one people have been kind of, if you're going to make a sequel series, have been champing as like that's the character you follow, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense going into a whole new area of this world that we're not really familiar with. Maybe you are if you read the books and they kind of expand on that. But I think this is great. I really, really do. With Jon Snow's series, yes, I like that character. I would like to have seen a bit more, but I don't know exactly what more there is to give us that is beyond the wall, right? Because the White Walkers
you might
are
mention
gone.
In this same article, they mentioned why that show got the kibosh, because they announced. Remember, they announced it. It wasn't even a rumor. They announced it. Harrington was working on it. So this is what came out. Firstly, it's reported that Kit Harington personally pushed for a dark take on the series, which saw Jon Snow living alone as a broken man with PTSD after discarding his sword Longclaw and chasing off his direwolf Ghost. Snow would have spent time building cabins only to burn them down. Most surprising of this all, this was Harrington's idea that he didn't want to play hero. He wanted Jon Snow to ultimately die. Today, report states that HBO was ultimately balked on continuing the project, considering Harrington's take as too downbeat, which is just a funny thing to say on
like this.
I would have liked this. You know
You
why?
would have liked it?
Because eventually, okay, I don't think he would have just been like building the cabins, burn them, and then just die. I think what would happen is it would have been very Logan-esque, that he would have been suffering, he would have been alone, and then someone gets back into the journey, back into the adventure. That's how I take it. And I would have been fine because this guy should be. Look at how much shit, not his whole life, but look at his last season, everything he had to go through. He had to kill the woman he fucking loved. Like, this shouldn't be a guy that is the hero. So for me, I kind of get HBO's idea of maybe turning it down. The idea of it saying it's too downbeat. It's like, how much shit is on HBO that's downbeat?
I think it's
like,
the retroactive damage that it could do to his character and everything, where people know what's going to happen.
That season 8 or the final season already didn't do in Game of Thrones.
But that being said, I think you have a chance here to kind of mend what season 8 did. A lot of people calling for those petitions to redo season 8,
Right.
with new writers and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that, okay, whatever show you choose post season 8 will be able to kind of mend that wound a little bit. And I think doing Arya is a way better path forward than doing with Jon Snow, because you can bring him in later and throw his story in somehow. But Arya going into a new land, and like I was half memeing in the Discord, but bring Drogon in there. Maybe he's like, oh, there's one episode, there's a dragon out there, and like I don't know what she could do with it, but like maybe she's like, I know someone who can help me. And then season 3, Jon Snow comes into the picture, he ditches the wall and he takes Drogon and rides Drogon. I don't know.
Sounds like he was ditching the wall anyways. Okay, he's definitely not riding Drogon, because that he fucking killed her like mother or whatever. That's not happening.
But he's yeah.
But isn't your argument the same case for Disney turning down The Hunt for Ben Solo? Just being like, I know they're like, oh, because he's dead, but really it's like, oh, well, it's more connected to the sequel trilogy. I don't know if we want to do that. Isn't that the same thing as Jon Snow? It's like, well, we want to have like a lighter response on the sequel trilogy, so let's not do Ben Solo.
because I don't see how The Hunt of Ben Solo retroactively damages.
No, but it's trying to fix
films.
the sequels, right? In a sense, like
I would
again, there's nothing that damage the sequels. The
It's trying to
sequels are
fix it
damaged
a little bit.
They're
But
beat up.
this Jon Snow spinoff doesn't sound like it's trying to fix season 8 though. It's just continuing on this downward spiral
But
where
that's what I mean, though. I don't think the Hunt for Ben Solo is trying to fix the sequel series either. But you want that? Or Jon Snow? What if you don't think You don't think Ben Solo was going to be suffering from PTSD and going through the shit
afterwards. No, he kissed Rey. He was ready to bounce back.
He killed all those people.
So did Anakin, and look what happened to him. He was back in good graces.
No, what? Yeah, he was back in good
He was
graces.
Force Ghost.
But he lived a terrible 20 years after that as Vader. He hated his life.
Yes, he did.
So that's what I mean. You think the Hunt for Ben Solo is going to be all like rainbows and flowers and whatnot?
Oh yeah, there's no government that could arrest him or anything like that. So he had a clean slate.
Rough shot.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But okay, so if they fully green light this, you're for the Arya Stark.
I am. Yeah.
I think it is funny. This article was very interesting because again, in this article, they interviewed George R.R. Martin, and he again stressed that he just does not get along with the House of Dragon showrunner. I think it's like in poor taste, but whatever, because he's like, oh, season 1 was fine. He would take my notes. And then season 2, he wouldn't take any of my notes, and HBO had to send him the notes. You should it's just like, man, like, you're getting a paycheck because this dude, like, just settle down. But whatever, that's how he feels. I think Game of Thrones, and we'll talk about it in a second with the third point here about with the Aegon's quest, and they don't know which route to go, whether it's a movie or TV show. I don't think they're this. You know what? I do think they're the same. They're in a similar position as Star Wars with Game of Thrones that they were in Star Wars, right? Where, okay, final Game of Thrones season, I remember being like, hey, I have no interest in Game of Thrones whatsoever now. This season really did it in for me. Watch House of Dragon. That won me back. And then it's like, I think they are being very particular with what they pick because they did see, okay, we could lose people, right? The same way with Star Wars, I feel like they're being very particular. I don't know if it's going to work out, but okay, let's do Mandalore and Grogu. People love Grogu, and then let's do Starfire, which is not connected to the sequel trilogy at all. $1 billion director, and people love Ryan Gosling, right? So I feel like they are being very particular. That's why it's not a Hunt for Ben Solo. That's why it's not a Knight of the Old Republic's movie. So I think with this, and even and that's why Knights of the Kingdoms, we'll see, because Sundays are just tougher for me, and I haven't been too interested in the show. I'm gonna watch the first episode, and then eventually, if I'm digging it, I'll jump on. But that's why I'm excited to give it to you two to tally forth with it, because that's where, again, House Dragon, I was the same thing. You guys were reviewing it. I said, I'm good. I'm out. I don't need to. And then I watched those episodes, and that brought me in. So you never know if that's about the quality of the show. So I think with this, even on paper, I can admit that I think I don't know. I don't know what my ranking of Game of Thrones character is, but I'll just say I like Jon Snow and Arya Stark like equally, right? Arya Stark is a way more fun character and way more interesting, and that's where, not more interesting, but more excitable for the GA. I think she's more malleable. She can be funny. She can be in a romance. She can be this. For Jon Snow's, I'm Jon Snow. Like, he's, very, very one note to a point, right? So I think with me, if you're looking at it, even before they pitched the Jon Snow's gonna burn some cabins down and then build them up and burn them down, on paper, if you're telling me, hey, for money wise, success wise, if you're gonna go with Jon Snow or Arya Stark, you go with Arya Stark, because when she got on that fucking boat, everybody was like, maybe we'll get more with her. Maybe we'll see what's going on with her. So like everybody and their uncle is wanting more of her. So to me, it does make sense, and I hope it happens, because I'm all for series going past the sequels. The good thing is with Arya Stark is, like, you could bring in Jon Snow, you could do this, or you could do nothing of it, right? You could literally just have her do her whole adventure, have 5 seasons, and it's just Arya Stark. You don't have to go anything to Westeros. You don't need to talk about the Lannisters, the Starks, nothing. And that's fine with me. Just make it that's not a prequel where, oh, for sure Arya Stark can't die because she has to make it to this movie or this show, right? So I'm all for it, and I hope it happens. And then this third thing here is that, so they are doing Aegon's Quest. The problem is they just don't know if they're going to develop as a HBO drama series like the previous ones, or do a massive Dune scale level feature film at Warner Brothers. So what do you think they should do with this? Because obviously, I don't know much about Aegon's Quest, big battle, big moment in the canon of Game of Thrones. Do you think they should stick to the bread and butter and keep doing the shows, get that money, get the ratings, or should they take a little gamble and try it as a movie?
I'm down for them to do a movie. I really, really am. I mean, are we talking like it's going to be a standalone or like a whole trilogy?
I really don't know, because I feel like if you're saying the two possible avenues are a series or a movie, a series is going to be like at least like what, 15 to 20 hours maybe of 15 to 20 hours of content if you do like multiple seasons. Like most of these Game of Thrones shows are almost a full hour, right? So even in one season, you're doing 8 hours. So what, you would do 8 hours condensed into 2 hours? I feel like it would be the idea.
Of character stuff. I mean, if you spend your time building out this universe with all these other shows, then you've kind of done all the heavy lifting, and you could do a single movie one-off of a character that everyone's going to be familiar with. And then you get a lot of exposition in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon about Aegon and all these other Targaryens and whatnot. I'm sure we're going to get more in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So the idea that the GA is mostly familiar with Aegon the Conqueror, I like the idea of us getting him coming in here, unifying the Seven Kingdoms, and just because he's got his 2 wives, 2 sisters that he's married, and he's just like biggest dragon, just dominating. I think that would be pretty cool, because that's House of Dragon. How soon before the Game of Thrones is that one again?
You're asking the wrong man, brother.
Takes place before Game of Thrones. When?
Asking me about Game of Thrones lore.
Okay, so House of the Dragon takes place about 200 years before Game of Thrones, and Aegon the Conqueror is about 300 years before Game of Thrones. So I think that's really close. We're still going in House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon could give us a setup to something. Kind of, and this is not a spoiler, kind of like how Welcome to Derry season 1 gave us a little bit of a setup to something that could be going like in the past further, more prequel stuff, right? House of Dragon season 4 could be like, oh boom, here's a whole bunch of more exposition on Aegon the Conqueror. And then it's just going to like, okay, Aegon the Conqueror is returning in Game of Thrones, Doomsday, whatever, 2029 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing, is because I could see the idea of, especially you do a movie and it's on the big screen, that's where most of the budget's going to go to, right? You're going to get this big war battle like Helm's Deep, etc., right? But I think the problem is, that's where I think it's like you said, would this be a trilogy or just a one-off? I think as a one-off, it could not do well. Sorry, I don't know how it will play, because the good thing with the battles in the Game of Thrones show is we know all the characters and the stakes. So when you go into it, you're invested, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if let's just do Aegon's conquest in 2 hours, 2.5, maybe even 3, it's like, well, that's a lot of heavy lifting, and then you got this big battle and all these politics. It's like, is there too much to do there? So I think if they were to say, hey, we're gonna do a film series, at least of 2 movies, I'd say, yeah, okay, try that. Let's see. If it's just a film, I don't know. Like, I'm down for it. I'm down to see it on the big screen. I'm down for the change. So I'm not like opposed. Like, it has to stay on TV. To me, it's just like, how many characters and how many layers is there gonna be, right? Maybe you just make it one main character, a couple, and then that's what you tell the point of view of, and then you can make a movie. So that's my only holdup. Is Game of Thrones is known for having what, like 12 to 16 main characters. You can't do that in a TV or a movie, right? I know some might be like, well, look at Avengers, look at Infinity War. Even the first Avenger was 6 characters. Black Widow and Hawkeye are clearly not main characters of those movies, right? They're clearly like lower down in screen time. Like, Hawkeye's gone the whole movie. He gets mind controlled, right? So it's like, it's not the same. People get shelved all the time. So yeah, we'll have to see. And then yeah, and then this last one I will talk about because Taya hasn't. So they released trailer for The Mummy. It's interesting because there was rumors this was getting titled Resurrected, even more so after the Brendan Fraser like Mummy 3 rumors. It was like, oh, they're definitely retitling, but it's still called The Mummy. So I guess what's come out about this one is, I think it's the tagline's like, what happened to Katie or Catherine? And the idea is, so they're not going to Egypt. They're not searching for the money or anything like that. It's this family, couple, whatever. Their daughter went missing, I think, in Egypt. And then they find the body, and the body's like all wrapped up like a mummy, and they bring it home, and it comes up, and I'm guessing it's either doing stuff or possessing people. So it does sound pretty similar to Evil Dead Rise, which this is the same director. So I know Cocktail Clay was disappointed, and I was a little bit too, where, okay, it is just a movie in a house now. It's not an Egyptian movie. It sounds like it might have a mummy, but the mummy's going to be like a conduit to that. We had talked about this in the movie preview, and then another report came after that, where during the movie preview I said, and I'd heard about this whole, like, it's not an Egyptian thing, and then I'd heard the test screenings weren't great. We don't know why. This could be anything, right? But if you watch this trailer, you see that Blumhouse produced this, and then also James Wan, he has a new company called Atomic Monster, I think that's what it's called, and he produced this. There was a report that came out that he walked out halfway through the latest test screening. Now, you don't know what that could be. Maybe the guy had to pee. Maybe he had a family emergency. We know nothing of why this guy left. Maybe he'd already saw it and just want to see. Maybe he just saw the second half, want to see the first half. But obviously that went everywhere, right? Of, oh, he left. We don't know the context of that. But there has been more screenings that I guess apparently test screenings haven't gone the greatest for it. And this trailer, Taylor, wasn't much. You should watch at some point. Well, honestly, you're probably going to see it tonight, I bet, with Bone Temple. I bet it'll be on there. Because this movie comes out... Oh, can you look up when the 2026 Mummy movie comes out? I forgot. I think it's like in March or something. But yeah, it's showing just the sarcophagus, the dead
April
mummy
17th.
person. April, okay, yeah, and just shows a bunch of flashes. They show some Egyptian stuff, so I think there will be some set pieces set there to set some stuff up. I liked Evil Dead Rise. I do like Mummy and monsters in general, so I will be there as long as it's not rocking like a -30 or under on Rotten Tomatoes. Even a 40%, I can get there because I've seen some 40% horror movies I still enjoy. The 30% with enough reviews, you go, okay, something might be up here, but I think I'm still planning on seeing this. So, Terry, I know you haven't seen the trailer, but how do you feel with this, the idea that the mummy's going to be more of a, they bring this thing home and that causes some grief for this family, not like they're going to Egypt. Like I said, they show Egyptian stuff in the trailer, so there could be things or a scene or two in Egypt in a pyramid, but I think most of the movie is taking place at this house with this mummy, I guess, wreaking havoc.
Oh, it reminds me of another Mummy movie.
There's also a Goosebumps episode that's identical to this. They bring the mummy home and they open up the sarcophagus and he tears shit in the house. So,
I'm curious. I certainly am. I wish I could remember the name of this other Mummy movie, but I can't. I'd have to do some research. But there was another movie that came out, and it was these people are on an expedition, and they're in Egypt, break into a pyramid, do something, and then they bring these items home with them, and it's back at North America, and this thing comes out of the sarcophagus, and it was some of the freakiest shit that I saw when I was a kid. It just terrified me, and it was just harvesting their organs and slowly killing them one by one, trying to get resurrected. And why do I feel like it was No, it wasn't Brandon
Goosebumps.
Lee.
I don't think it was Brandon Lee. Maybe it was one of the other Lees, but
Oh God, he looks. Yeah, I'll have to keep looking. But anyways, the concept of a mummy kind of being on home base, home turf, it's not new to me. I'm open to it, and I think that if there is that Evil Dead kind of vibe that's pulled into this, that would be pretty cool. But it definitely feels very small scale, and hopefully it's not going to be too small scale, because if you have the opportunity to do something like this in Egypt with those settings, those set pieces, that would be super cool. And that was one of the highlights when you're watching The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I remember the second one, Mummy Returns, and you just get this whole intro scene, even though it was all CGI, but it just shows like Egypt and like the pharaoh and all this like this cool just setup. Yeah, just this cool setup. It's like, man,
talk
this
about
is
Tomb
sweet.
Raider.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting anything like her this movie, but
Travis Cena knocks up. And Rachel Weisz in that movie when they fight, my God, there's some good
yeah.
and don't get me wrong, a couple years earlier when Brendan Fraser does George Clooney, I still said I'm not a gay man, but this young Travis, Brendan Fraser as George of the Jungle, or not George Clooney. Brendan Fraser,
I didn't get that one, George Clooney. Yeah, like I don't know where you're going with this.
Brendan Fraser, George of the Jungle. There's that scene where he uses a shower the first time. He walks out, he's butt naked. That is the best shape of man's maybe ever been. And he is toying like a tiger. My God, the people from the and then you got the Rock in there. People in the Mummy just looking great. But yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, I'll be excited to get your take because I think you'll get it tonight at Bone Temple when we see it. And then and then finally, I'll talk on this Euphoria. They released a trailer. Man, I don't know. It's kind of what
excited.
What for?
You're
What?
excited for Euphoria?
I was.
Oh.
And then you get more details and you get a trailer. Because I think you were on a cast when we talked, because I know you haven't seen this, but the worry that we had, and I just feel like what's happening when they release all the characters, kind of their plot synopsises, it seems like a lot of them are doing their own things. Because obviously, like Sydney Sweeney, Zendaya, Jacob Elordi, they're all like big stars now. So it's probably harder to get these people together, right? So I think we don't know for sure, but our worry was like, oh, we're getting a season 3, but it's going to be a lot of like, oh, this story's separate here and this story's separate here, because you can't get all this cast to work together at the same time. So, and this the synopsis sound like that, the trailer sound like that, because Maude Apatow, the daughter of Judd Apatow, other than one scene between Zendaya and Hunter Schafer, Maude Apatow's the only actress in multiple scenes with multiple characters. So it's like, man, Maude Apatow's like the only one that could maybe like move over from scene to scene. And I confirmed all the stories we heard. I don't know, again, visually looks great. And my thing is, Taylor, I know you haven't watched it. There's a story in season 2 where Rue, and that's Zendaya's character, she gets a bit more involved with the drug cartel and that type of stuff, like the crime side of things. And that was my least favorite part of said story, said season. And with season 3, it's, we pick up years later and she owes those people a bunch of money. So all her story is just like cartel and drug and crime stuff. And it's like, I said this before, I've watched Breaking Bad. I've watched Sopranos. I've watched The Wire. If I want to go watch the crime drug show stuff, I got multiple better shows for that. I want these people doing young hijinks, high school hijinks. They're not high school anymore, but just like young people, affairs, cheating, Rue can do drugs, all that stuff, getting in trouble. Even Cassie doing OnlyFans. Sure, that makes sense. But like her on the run and there's a bunch of mobsters, I just think I'm going to check out every time, but it's probably like, well, we can't have Zendaya around everybody else.
Sounds like a Taylor Sheridan pitch or something like that.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm not watching that, but I get it. She's a big star. She's doing Odyssey. She's doing Spider-Man. She's doing the drama, all the stuff. So I get it that this might be the only time we get her, but I don't know. So this trailer did not make me too excited. I think there'll still be good stuff in here. Sam Levinstein's kind of on the back foot, but there will be reviews for this. This is starting in April, so there will be at least reviews. I know me and Kirkland. I think Dylan's seen it, so he's an iffy. Taylor keeps threatening to watch it, but I still think Taylor Madison will be eternally scarred by watching this show. But,
I might do a solo run at it, to be honest, because when I'm up till like 3 a.m., I'm thinking like, man, I can't just keep playing Arc Raiders. I gotta think, what else can I sneak in here to bide my time? So
yeah. Well, Taylor, anything else for today?
Well, I can confirm that the minutes late, like all the woman says in Spider-Man 2 is, "You're late. I'm not paying for those." But if you look at the clock, behind her, the big hand is on the 3rd minute in, so he was 3 minutes late. But she doesn't say you're 3 minutes late.
Okay, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you were wondering at the beginning of this episode, how many minutes was she late? Taylor got that. So, yeah, there you go. We'll be back next week. Like I said, I've thrown to Taylor maybe the Monday, but TBD, we'll go with whatever his schedule can allow. And then the other Trash Told You will be on the Thursday because I'll be breaking down the Oscar nominations and all the drama that's going to come with that. So, yeah. Until then, we promise you, it won't be boring.